right. Well, look at that. We got a surprise guest, Brad Pascal here from AIAD. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I'm not actually official with AID. I am a large shareholder. Obviously, it purchased my previous companies, and the AIAD platform is based off of my vision of software from back about 5-6 years ago, and it took them several years to write it. So there's been a lot of confusion between my companies. Campaign Nucleus is a privately held company. It's political completely. It's a software not going to be released until later in the year, but the AIAD platform has been released. Now the two work together, but that is not something that's been released yet. And obviously, I have a very close relationship with Fundware, and I think there's going to be some fun announcements tomorrow morning. I don't want to jump ahead of it, but there'll be some great press releases tomorrow morning.
Well, that is exciting. So are you able to explain a little bit of Nucleus versus AIAD?
Yeah. So the difference between over the last 5-6 years, I recognized in politics there was kind of two main things that were missing. On the political side, there was no real operating system or like kind of Salesforce-like software to manage a campaign. So what we did was, and so if you really think about it, the very clear line is Nucleus is built as AI-based earned media, and AI advertising platform is AI-based paid media. So both are full SaaS-based, full stack software applications that have been written over the last few years. Almost 16 developers now, and a complete development team, but separated completely. I am not on the board or management of AID. I walked away from that to go run the 2020 campaign and do some other things, which obviously were very political. So the AIAD platform is pretty much the vision of what I did in 2016, which is a full wraparound circle of software to it can find if you connect it and you attach it to, let's say, your CRM or other data clouds, you can actually build your personas, your customers. It'll find customers. It will automatically build the ads through AI. It'll actually place omni-channel programmatic advertising, learn what's happening with the responses all the way down to the color level, all the things. If you saw my 60 Minutes years ago, it's pretty much AI-based. What I had 100 employees doing hundreds of millions of dollars advertising back in 2016. That's been fully automated now so that a mid-sized company doesn't have to hire a multi-million-dollar agency. An agency can just put a software platform and completely advertise and increase their KPIs and ROAS by automating the entire stack. And it could rapidly create ads. For people that don't know, in 2016, I created like 5.2 million ads versus Hillary Clinton's 66,000 ads. And the reason we did that, and the only part that wasn't automated back then was the actual ad creation process. We had 100 people in San Antonio making ads. Well, that changed now through this. Nucleus is a complete platform to manage political organizations' campaigns. Now, eventually, those, and it's possible that someday those will be connected. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but yes, there is obviously a connection between the two. There's both Giles Parscale, Parscale Digital, Parscale Media are all owned by AIAD. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
I read on the forums every day. People are so confused about all of this, but the problem is the media says so much lies. You can't really tell what's what.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I got a question for you. There's been a lot of speculation since Facebook missed that this is a good catalyst for AIAD, that's AI advertising. I know someone in the ad business, and they were not surprised with Facebook's miss. They said because of the iOS changes of privacy and cookies.
Yeah. Well, also you have supply. Also people cut back advertising when you have no supply chain. So, I mean, if you don't have anything in inventory, why are you advertising more?
Yeah, it didn't affect Google, though.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that Facebook is a different type of product than Google. I think Google has enough revenue. Look, Facebook has had a lot of problems over the years. I've always was a fan, but I also think there's a lot of movement. There's a lot more other choices now. I mean, you got TikTok, Instagram, you have all these things that have really picked up in the last 5 years. But AIAD is omni-channel. It's not just Facebook, so it would work in Google. It's going to work in these other platforms as well. So it's not like it's just Facebook. It's omni-channel programmatic buying across anything that's addressable.
Got it, Brad. Man, I wouldn't be sensitive to your time. This wasn't planned. If you have
I was just sitting here watching 1883, and somebody sent me an email and said, "Hey, I love 1883 and Paramount and all those westerns. But anyways, I was sitting here and someone sent me an email and said, you guys are talking about all this, and there was a lot of confusion. So I figured what would be lost of me in 5 minutes saves me about 100 press releases to explain it or go on TV. No one will actually get it right anyways if you go to the press.
Right. Well, I'll definitely have to listen to the recording later and try to figure all this out. But
yeah, the real clear line is Nucleus is earned media AI. If you know what that means, that means like trying to earn, building movements, building natural grassroots movements. AIAD is a platform for paid advertising to build, and to increase your ROAS and to automate the entire stack of advertising through AI. So that's the clear line, and people have a hard time. Now, both can be symbiotic, but that is the clear line and the difference between, kind of commercial and political software.
Got it. That's helpful. And do you you said AID has an interest in your organizations, but do you own any AID?
No, I own, yes. So I got 230 million shares in 2017, I think it is. That's all public. So okay. 225 million. I don't remember how many shares it is. And then, but Nucleus is a complete separate. It's just an LLC. It's not a public traded company. It's completely political. It runs all of, the Trump press releases, the Trump events, all that kind of stuff. And it runs. Right now, we're currently just in beta for a couple dozen candidates and organizations across the country. We don't plan to release a full software release until after the 22 cycle. In preparing for the 24 cycle. We've been funded with a first round of investments. We don't know if we'll go public or do anything in the future. The SEC and a lot of these places don't like political organizations being there and political software. So, it might always just say private, but it's a well-funded organization ready to, deliver the most comprehensive political software to center-right candidates the world's ever seen.
All right, great. And regarding AIAD, how do we value that? Give us some help. How much do you think this company is worth?
I think this company is so undervalued because people have, for the last 3 years, have treated it like it's some, they read all this fake news about me and penny stocks, blah, blah. The reason why I sold my company is because the President of the United States brought me to the Oval Office and asked me to become his campaign manager. And it's really hard to run a company while you're the senior advisor and the campaign manager of the President of the United States. So I sold the company to a public company, guys I knew, and I said, take my baby home. And they've been spending the last 4 years developing the software while the fake media just wrote fake stories about undervalue. And they went back to fake stories. People buy shells and, you don't know until the media digs in. 12 years ago, some guy, went over a speed bump or something, right? That's how much they dug on me and all these things. And this company has spent millions of dollars and hired some of the best developers I've seen to write this software. And I think when people start to see what it does and it starts to have performance, it's going to take a couple quarters for the revenue to get up. But, I could easily see this company doing $400 or $500 million in ad revenue, quick. It just all depends on, as people start seeing the performance and start to believe in this kind of tech, removing kind of the ad kind of traditional advertising agency, production cycle that most corporations use.
And what interests me is you said quickly getting to 400 to 500 million. I just think I threw this question by Funware, and they kind of agreed with me that you all kind of have to support each other. You're going up against big tech and DWAC and CFI
AIAD is not going against big tech. Remember, we're programmatic placing advertising. Funware is different, right? AIAD is utilizing the channels that are there through programmatic, APIs. So Facebook, Google, whatever platform is addressable TV, Comcast. So that's different. So, and because it's omni-channel, the AI can find if one moment Facebook's doing worse and TikTok's doing better, the AI will figure that out and move the ad budget to there automatically within milliseconds. So AI it's literally doesn't matter what platform moves because every platform has a programmatic API pretty much. Does that make sense?
Well, this is pretty interesting. I have a couple businesses. We spend, not huge, but we do like $10,000 a month in advertising. Is that something? Is that available?
Currently not that low of level right now. I mean, it's going to take some time. I mean, the clients you're signing up now are going to be multi-million advertising because to get the kind of efficiencies and scale the AI to learn. But over time, just like any kind of really good software, as the cost of operating goes down and the cost of kind of replenishing all that development funds, the software could become more affordable. That's not my decision. I'm not the CEO of that company, but that I could see that happening. But right now you're talking about larger ad spends. You're talking about, $200,000-$300,000 a month budgets, maybe 100,000. But there is tons of companies in that mid-level that overpay to large New York, LA based advertising agencies, and they might put up 30 creatives a year. And we're talking about putting up 30,000 creatives a night.
Oh, that sounds exciting. Brian, did he have a question or comment? Brian Schottenstein.
Hey guys, Brad, it's great that you're on this. I'm actually a shareholder of AIAD and really intrigued with everything you guys have going on. I don't know if you can answer this, and kind of shooting from the hip here, but is there anything you can talk about AIAD possibly being involved with Truth Social?
I'm not, again, I just want to repeat, I'm not a board member. I'm not an employee. I'm just a shareholder of AIAD. So, it happens to own some of my old companies, things like that. But, I think, I don't want to get into all the stuff. I have a lot of NDAs with the president, obviously, as being, this is my 13th year working for him, regardless of what reports say, I still have a lot of contracts with him and do a lot of work. I'm just going to leave it at that right now. I don't want to be, that's the president for him to decide who he wants to say yes and no to and what they're going to be. Currently he uses Nucleus for a lot of things, and, we'll see how Truth Social goes. But I don't think I want to have any impact or say on that. That's a whole other world. I hope everyone understands that.
All right, thanks.
I'm happy to talk about what I have impact on.
Brad, are you going to convince Trump to run for president again?
I hope he does whatever makes him happy. I just, I don't think I would be campaign manager again, obviously, but it took, it was a long 6 years of my life. But I got to learn. I think that you'll see a very, unique press release tomorrow, and there is one fact. I'm the only developer, marketer, and political consultant to ever be campaign manager. So it gave me a very unique view of multi-billion-dollar kind of organic advertising. And I think what you're going to see through both software platforms is kind of that staff and the developers that were all around me that got to really see that kind of viewpoint, dealing with that kind of cancel culture, dealing with the amount of volume, learning, and being able to test kind of very unique theses on advertising and the way it can be done through AI. I think the Trump years gave my teams a very unique idea of how to write software that I think portions of the industry don't do. And I think what you're going to see, and why you're seeing this rise in all of these companies, is you got a lot of unique developers that have a different bird's eye view of the world. And I think you're going to see technology that comes out of that. I think that's much different than the social media portion, which the president obviously is a 500-pound gorilla in. But I think the tech is the part that really hasn't shown up yet. The aftermath of what we learned having to spend 5 years fighting them. And I think that you're just on the edge of the shore of seeing what that ocean is.
That's exciting. Brad, I want to ask your opinion on what I spoke to Niraj about earlier. Politically, do you think there's going to be the stores, Apple and Google, can pull or will pull down Rumble or Trump Social, or there's going to be laws against that?
Well, I don't know what Congress does. I doubt if there's laws. I agreed with you earlier. I think Congress would be, look, I don't think Democrats love big tech any more than Republicans. I just think Republicans are a little more colorful in talking about it. I don't think anyone in politics likes, if you got to remember, the people that were really drilling Facebook on privacy and everything were Democrats, not Republicans. I think you have to be careful with what Congress does. I'm also a Republican. I like freedom. I think if we don't like big tech, let's make our own tech. I don't like regulating that. But I think that Parler made a lot of mistakes, and I think one of them, was I think their tech stack was a little weak at the time. I think they were obscuring, and I think the problem was they didn't have good AI to kind of really take off, some dirty things that were on their platform, and they didn't even, rewrite the URLs or obscure them, and so they were just direct links to Amazon AWS with pictures of things that were illegal in the United States. And I think Amazon had no choice. I think the other, I don't think Apple and Google want to probably get in a war with Donald Trump and 140 million Americans. I would tell Tim Cook, I would think that would be a bad idea, because But, I always believe in the Michael Jordan view. When someone asked him, are you going to say anything about Trump? He said, Republicans buy shoes also. If I was Tim Cook, I would say Republicans buy iPhones also. I think that I think there should be clear guidelines of how to make a social media app. And if you follow those, it should matter what your political view is, as long as you follow the guidelines. And I think that, I think Apple and Google will take that round. I think the social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook are a whole different world. And I still continue to believe that the reason they banned Trump was not because of external problems. It was because they were going to lose a third of their workforce if they didn't get Trump off their platform. And I think
are you serious? Wow.
Yeah, I think it's more about the Palo Alto Mafia and what happens inside their buildings than what happens outside their buildings. And when I said Facebook employees were embedded with us in the 2016 campaign, which they were Republicans who wanted to help us win. When employees of Facebook found out that Facebook employees were doing that, you almost had a mass mutiny. And that's what you see happen over 2017 after my 60 Minutes interview that really starts the implosion of politics with inside Facebook.
And that is fascinating. You have any thoughts on Spotify and Joe Rogan? Any predictions? What's going to happen there?
Yeah, I think he'll find a new home. I think controversy sometimes controversy drives innovation, and I think all of these things we're just going to with a better place. I think eventually, right now you have engineers and people imagining new ways to communicate and do things. Because honestly, Twitter sucks, and I know we're on it right now, and I think that's hypocritical of me, but I can't wait for somebody to make something better, and so that 1,000 people a day don't yell at me and tell me they hate my beard and think I'm ugly. I think it's stupid, and I just, I just turn it off now. But I think we're ready for something better, and look, I mean, I have told people a million times, Twitter talked to the world on, the president talked to people on Twitter, the world, but he won the election on Facebook. The Facebook platform was more utilized and was a better deliverable of chasing votes and doing kind of micro-targeting API and programmatic buying. The Twitter ad platform is a piece of crap, and I always thought that the former CEO was an idiot.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, what about Getter? Isn't that your former colleague who put that together?
Yeah, right? Jason Miller, Getter. Yeah. Look, I good luck to him. The more the merrier. And I think the president's going to have that attitude. I think the president's going to say, everyone, let's go do this. I think the more conservative outlets there are, and there's more voices, the better. I don't think it's anything about a single outlet. I think it's doing well. I think Getter is doing well. I believe that that's just the start of a domino effect where big tech's getting hurt. And this first quarter from Facebook might be a sign of that. I mean, the fact is Facebook had large revenues from a lot of rural areas in the United States that are pretty pissed off when Facebook just, I think things like the Hunter Biden notebook, laptop stuff where they banned it. And now people are finding out it's true, to the origins of the coronavirus. I think all those things and them regulating and saying that it wasn't true and then later finding out it is true are going to be devastating long-term to them and to their ability to, for this 120, 140 million Americans who are upset about it. And the problem with Facebook is a large portion of that was their market. And the question is how many people really have connected the dots. But as they connect the dots, they're going to be looking for something else, or they're just shutting off. I know more and more people every day that text me and email me and just say, you know what, I'm off social media. I'm kind of like that too this day. I tweet rarely. Right now I'm just very excited about these two software platforms. I kind of feel like AIAD is like a birth of a new child for me because I spent 6 years. In 2015, I came up with this, with a group of great guys like Gary Kobe and others, this great thesis of how we could really change advertising on social media. And this is the first piece of tech to automate all that through machine learning. And that's exciting. So that's why I started talking about it. And I want, even though I'm not a direct employee and my other baby's Nucleus, it's great to see that vision come to life from all those years and years of mapping out an idea and a dream.
Sounds great. Well, I'm a shareholder of AIAD now, and I'm happy I got a chance to speak to you.
Yeah, no worries. Well, thanks for taking me on there. I wasn't planning on speaking. I was just going to listen, but then I heard that you were confused about AIAD, and I was like, all right, I'll have to click the little request button.
Appreciate it so much. Where are you based out of, by the way?
We're kind of all over. AIAD is currently all the business are for AIADs in Texas, San Antonio. It's my old office building in San Antonio from Giles Parscale. However, Nucleus is based out of South Florida. However, I'm spending a lot of time in Ohio right now, working on a bunch of races up here as beta tests for the software. We're finding amazing results from what we call our new AI-based war room, which is artificial intelligence to fight back against fake news. We haven't released a white paper on that yet, but over the last 3 years, as we saw kind of the fight against what they call fake news, there was a lot of ways to use machine learning to fight back against that. And so we're testing that in a few states right now and seeing great results in a few campaigns.
That's awesome. Are you accepting like Democrats as customers too?
No. I'm center right. I'm fully pregnant on being a Republican and believing in the conservative values in America. And if you're a Democrat and you want my software, then just go somewhere else.
All right, Brad, thank you so much for joining us. It was very
generous. Thanks. Well, hopefully, you guys will like the press releases tomorrow. I think it'll be a very interesting day.
Sounds great. Thank you. Bye. All right, that was an awesome surprise. I got Lexi. I have a question or comment. I wanted to be courteous to Brad's time over there since he came in unannounced. But Lexi, did he have a comment or question?
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to ask if Brad ever thought that if he thinks he'll ever go on Joe Rogan.
We'll find out about that in due time. That'll be fun. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up soon. Go ahead and follow Brad if you haven't been already. Make sure you're following Brad. And while Brad's coming back in, maybe he wants to answer your question.
Hello? Okay,
yes.
That's just ironic. Lexi, yes, I don't think I'll go on Joe Rogan anytime soon, but that's funny. Anyways, guys, that's actually my daughter now following me here. So she's just messing with me. Sorry about that, guys. She's 20 something. She's trying to hijack the thing. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. All right, man. Thank you. Awesome, guys. All right, so we are getting ready to do our 9 p.m. show on Zoom. We're going to be doing the update on SMSI and QCCUF. That's Smith Micro. They're hopefully going to be launching some new software with T-Mobile soon. We'll hear about that. QC Copper and Gold, copper mining company. That's also in just a few minutes.